being able to sit across the table and to talk to somebody from a value system that shows that you care, that shows that you're able to deliver something that at the end of the day is a win-win of mutual benefit to all parties involved. And I think this is absolutely crucial and absolutely important. And you know, I personally look forward to tapping into this network, because I know there are certain elements. Because the minute we tap into this, if I fly to a country where I'm unfamiliar, but I'm able to get in touch with Iccc, and it happens that Iccc is in that particular country, automatically I find myself, I'm sure I'll find myself meeting with people who have a like value system and who have also that desire to do business in a good, positive way that will impact communities and change communities at large. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Joe. You just gave me goosebumps by saying ICC. It is ICCC. So, in brevity, because I know business people are very brief and to the point. So in brevity, you told us that do not put all your eggs in one basket. So you meant that we should not only think Tanzania, we should think beyond Tanzania. And that reminded me of a joke that we used to be told when we are told to control our emotions, that if you're selling eggs, do not start a fight in the market. So, tell us, how is ICCC something of value to somebody who is listening to us in the audience, for you to be able to break the barriers and to tap into networks?
Maybe I should share a bit of experience that relates to this question. When I started business, actually at the same time I joined the church where I am right now. And at the church where I am, there is something of that sort, of business people network. We call it business and professionals in ministries. That I happen to be a leader of that thing for over 10 years plus. So that's where the business people meet, we connect, we learn from each other. And that's a place where I met the business partner who founded this business together through that network. But again, I remember when I was entering Malawi as well. It's actually through that business network. Our pastor took some business people and we went to Malawi. And we went to a church where we were welcomed with a group of the business people in Malawi. So we had a time to connect and see what, and it opened doors. They took us to various places, to the trade center in Malawi, and it was easier than the previous trip where we went alone. And up to this moment, doors are opening. I remember last week I got a call from the embassy now in Malawi and say, there's a logistic company here is looking for a partner in Tanzania, and we want to connect you with them. And we had a good conversation with that company. And yeah, even those Malawi guys where we met in church, we're doing business together in one way or another. So wow. Similarly, I see if this is expounded now to many, many other countries, life will be so easier whenever you set your foot.
Life will be so much easier wherever you set your foot. So life will be so much easier if you participate in ICCC, because you have a network. These days, in the era of WhatsApp groups, if you create a WhatsApp group, you can access 500 people at a go, then it will be difficult to look for them. Seems like our audience is still seeking what we have just discussed, and they seem not to be having any questions. And it is important that we remember we've all talked about networking and the network. So, and networking is who knows you, not who you know. You might know a lot of people, but they don't know you. So that's not your network. They need to know you. So if you're a member of ICCC, people will get to know you. Any question from the audience? Any question from the audience? Yes, we have a question right there. Kindly introduce yourself and your question.
Thank you very much. My
The
name.
audience wants to see you. That's what I heard from the other side.
Thank you very much. My name is Flattery Kashaga. I would like to ask a question to Dr. from America and Mr. Prosper. Maybe let me begin with the doctor. Probably you can, I would like to know your personal experience of doing business in America and doing business in Tanzania, especially with the upholding biblical principles, the integrity of the business. The environment in Tanzania, as many of us will know, sometimes it is very tricky to business as a Christian, as an upright Christian, because you have to put papers from one officer to another. You will be getting involved with someone. Things may not be smooth. Corruption might be one of the problems. So how do you see that and compare to United States in America? Please share your experience.
I would love to pick 3 questions so that the panelists can respond to them at once. And there goes another question. Where did I see a hand? Yes, there is a hand here in front here. Yes, please ask your question. You have the mic. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Cyril Chembe from the Institute of Finance Management, and Dr. Lucas Shalua is my pastor at City Christian Center of Hungary, Islam. First of all, I'd like to congratulate them for the nice presentations led by Madam there, and I have a few questions, and it will help me because I'm lecturing in the area of global environment, student of 3rd year at the Institute of Anchors. We are seeing there are a lot of challenges that businesses is facing nowadays. We have the issue of artificial intelligence, and the artificial intelligence is becoming a very big threat to most of the businesses around the world. So Dr. Shalua is coming from a developed country, and he's doing very, very well there. When you go to the website of the legal university, everything is going on very well. So at least it should help us know at least what are the things as Tanzania we should get prepared with the issue of artificial intelligence. The second question, or the second thing, we have the issue of political environments and legal things, which are becoming very, very alarming in most of the businesses in Tanzania. For example, in Kenya, with the issue of political instability, so many businesses went down. And the issue of exchange rates, the value of the Kenyan shillings compared to...
I need to be able to go back home, just in case somebody sees this and says, I went in Tanzania and saying that businesses are closed. We got your question. The third question?
Thank you very much.
The third question? Any other question? From this end? Kuna swali? Uko mwisho. I saw a hand up and then the hand went down. Thank you very much. So we have these 2 questions, and I would love, as you give your parting shot, to respond or to react to the questions. And the first question is also a question that I really need to be sure and go home because it is touching on Tanzania and the government. So he asks, doing business in Tanzania and in USA about corruption, and she tied that with the political issues and the legal issues. So the second question is about the global environment and artificial intelligence. I believe all of us, as we give our parting shot, we can react to the two questions. In brevity, kindly, we have run out of time, so please be very brief. I want to stay with my mic so that I can interject. So,
okay, the first two questions are actually very to the question. So, I think with respect to AI, from my perspective, my individual perspective, AI is there to stay. And it's coming in to change the world, and it's coming in to transform the way business is being done. This is a non-negotiable. It's going to happen. It's either you embrace it, or it's going to leave you behind. Personally, there are a lot of things right now as we speak that I use AI to do. And it's incredible what AI can actually do in a span of seconds. And the reality is, you know, we need to be able to figure out how, you know, you've got this new thing coming. How are you going to, quote unquote, embrace it so that it works to your advantage? And clearly there are ways that you can use AI today to work to your advantage, but you know, that would be lengthy. I know my friend Francis is here, and Francis is a techie. So those, if you want to get further details, those are the sort of people that you can talk to. But I think when all is said and done, the bottom line here is that this is something that is real, that is coming, that is happening. Learn, because this is your opportunity to learn. Learn as much as you can and see how you can use it to your advantage. There are ways that you can start, you know, making quote unquote money from AI as we speak. Wow. But you know, just I think the message.
Yes, message is home that AI is an idea whose time has come. There is nothing that you can do about it. That is what I'm getting from that. I would love Dr. Lucas to react last because the questions were addressed to him. So give us your final remarks.
There are several questions. Maybe I take a little bit the one was about the business environment as far as corruptions and other things are concerned. There's something of lent in business that somehow it helps. You know, we all agree that there's a big issues when it comes to corruption. What I've decided, many times what I want to do business, I try as much as possible to avoid the red ocean. In the red ocean, that's where competition is very high. Now, getting a business there, you need to play tricks probably you don't want to play. So when we're starting to Tume, we look in the market and realize that there are giants in the market, and we can't go facing them head on and probably will not penetrate. Then we try to find a place where it was a red ocean, a blue ocean, as we created a marketplace where competition now was irrelevant. Because in Tanzania now, Tutume, we are the only company that identify ourselves as a medical courier, and probably there are very few in Africa. That's why we even decided now we can export these products to many other countries, because we go to the places and we find nobody's almost doing a similar business, and then you don't need to bribe anyone, you don't need to corrupt anyone, because you're in a blue ocean.
So it's your strategy of doing business, that's what we are getting to learn, that avoid the red ocean as much as possible if you want to do clean business and you don't want to engage in corruption. So in brevity, Dr. Lucas, kindly react to the questions, and I'll be allowed to interject the pastor in case the pastor science comes in.
All right. First question about doing business in the US compared to doing business in Tanzania. I work there, even in the US, there is a lot of corruption. Many people don't know corruption is everywhere in the world. So the spiritual biblical principles have to be observed. It doesn't matter where you are. So many times we had to stand and point out that this is not fair in the US, just because probably of the color of our skin, or sometimes just somebody just doesn't like you, and they will make life very difficult for you. And yes, if you take them for lunch, they will make life very easy for you. And there are certain things that we will need to talk probably later on. We might call them corruption here, but in another world, probably it's not corruption. It is, you have to know how to talk, like I've talked about culture. But corruption is everywhere, and as Christians, we need to know how do we navigate those waters. You want to interject?
I really want to interject because we are running out of time, and since you will be coming back to the podium, I believe you can incorporate that in your speech. And that reminds me that corruption has a new name. It's called facilitation. Yes, so let us applaud our panelists for informing us. We have Dr. Joe. Thank you very much, Dr. Joe. We had Prosper Mokitalima, and we had Dr. Lucas Shalua, and myself, Dr. Ekra Domu from Kenya. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with generosity, and we really appreciate. So we could get help, and you could take your seats, but before you sit, it's good that we are clapped for in Tanzania. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we move on with the program. And our next keynote address comes on stage. It will be, kindly, could we get help to remove the seats so that they do not interrupt the next speaker. And as they do that, it is my honor and privilege, and because I can see all of us are midlife, majority of us are midlife, and I have the mic here, I'll be allowed to request us to stand so that I can feel how pastors feel when they tell us to stand up. Let us stand so that we're not tired and we don't get sleepy when we are listening to our speaker on the other side. There is one common thing, one common insect that we share across Africa. And Dr. Lucas can tell us that when he meets friends in America, they ask him, people are dying of malaria. That's a mosquito. It's an insect that we share. So I'd like you to stretch your hand from the farthest that you can go, your left hand. I said hand, I didn't say hands. Your left hand, the farthest that you can go until you feel like, don't tear your shirt, but the farthest that you can go until you can feel it here, like you're stretching. And as you're holding that side, stretch your right. Hold. Then try and reach a mosquito one side to the farthest that you can feel like you're stretching. Please kill it. You don't know how to kill mosquitoes here. That mosquito is not dead. We're gonna get malaria. So please, catch another one from the front side and another one from behind. The other, please kill that one. Please pick one that is disturbing your feet, especially us with short dresses. Pick one. Pick another one from behind. And please kill that mosquito. So if you are sleeping, I know now we are up. Our Next keynote address is coming from Dr. Alexander Chisango, and as he introduces him, please take your seats. Please take your seats and make sure you sit on your enemies of progress. So Dr. Alexander Chisango from Zimbabwe, by calling, has served the African continent and internationally as a nation builder, empowerment engineer, and development consultant for over 3 decades. He pioneered many blueprint, socio-economic and spiritual solutions, initiatives and projects for the building, empowerment and development of nations ahead of the current demand for reconstruction following recent worldwide crises and collapses. In 2016, he mobilized his international relationships to launch and pioneer the World Economic Congress, which is now spearheading the sustainable, cross-cutting, and collaborative reconstruction of Africa, the economy, and ethics worldwide. WEC has an investment hub, joint venture projects for reconstruction, quality membership with cross-cutting solution leaders, country chapters, and conduct periodic economic capacity building and special topical summits. As an educationist, innovator, and consultant, Dr. Chisango holds 2 doctorates in international leadership and in pedagogy, respectively, as well as being an accredited professional fellow. He has hosted and has been hosted by heads of nations to bring rare wisdom and counsel for nation building, with his works featured in many major media agencies and publications like the African Executive, CBN News, TBN, Mana TV, Mission Frontiers, Ashoka Fellows, Breaking and New Grounds, etc., etc. So you can learn more from the website www.worldeconomiccongress.com. He has also been a speaker at Festac Africa 2022, Destination Zanzibar, Inspire Africa Connect on Group App, and from YouTube you can still watch the same. Alexander Chisango Ashoka believes that everyone is a change maker, and he welcomes initiatives, and he's also been on daily business news in Zimbabwe, breaking limitations over Africa, business mission to DRC, and so much that he has achieved. And this afternoon, we are so honored to have a keynote address from Dr. Alexander Chisango, the President, World Economic Congress. Let us clap, let us welcome better than that as we welcome him on stage. You're most welcome.
Let's clap for our moderator, program director, moderating talent. Thank you so much. So, to our hosts, Isaac, the Chief Director of KLNT, representing Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania. Thank you so much for hosting us. And the honorables and our honorable guest of honor, the honorable former Prime Minister of Tanzania, and all the honorable speakers, keynote speakers, panelists, presenters, and august delegates in this very, very critical launch combined with anniversary, 10 years. Let's clap hands for 10 years instead of 12. If you can survive 10 years in Africa, building an organization That's not their job. We're so privileged in terms of this time. We have, in terms of offices, our main offices, of course we have chapters all over the world, but our main offices, they are both in Harare, Zimbabwe, as well as Johannesburg, South Africa. We also have homes in the two cities. And we are Zimbabweans. My wife, can my wife please stand? Yes, you can see she's the first lady of Southern Africa. We appreciate you so much. And also I want to salute Rene Kiamba as the Africa Regional President for Iccc, and Madam Kiamba, thank you very much for your presence. We come into this scene on the basis that Africa is now collaborating, and Africans are now collaborating. They are no longer going to go forward by working with a silo mentality, and the mentality of continuing to become weaker and weaker by making ourselves smaller and smaller. The men came to Africa from England before it was UK. The man came to Africa, he was a member of the House of Lords. And he did a tour around and across Africa that was before 1884, before the Berlin Conference, where 13 ambassadors, in fact there were 12 ambassadors of European colonial powers gathered together around the table. And they were also with one head of state who was the King of Belgium, and they had a representative of an ambassador from the US who was an observer, he was not a participant. And these 12 of them, plus this one king from Belgium, assisted by topographical designs of what Africa was looking like. And in order to prevent a civil war amongst European powers, then they decided to slice Africa into some little bits of countries so that they themselves don't have to fight over the shares here in Africa. And that then gave us, from 1884, the birth of the scramble for Africa, which then gave us the borders that we have today. And the borders were not necessarily recognizing any demographic logic. That is why when you are, for example, in Zimbabwe, we have a few tribes, fewer than Kenya, much fewer than Kenya, much fewer, of course, than Nigeria and so on. But across the Limpopo River, just over South Africa, we have the Venda tribe, and their king is in South Africa, but the majority of his population is in Zimbabwe. We have the same story across the western side of Zimbabwe as you cross to Botswana. We have the same story on the eastern side as you cross to Mozambique. It's the same story. When you are in Malawi also, the border between, when you come from Blantyre, when you are closer to the Mozambique side, people there, they actually don't know where the border exactly is. They actually don't know. And at the end of the day, some of them just enroll in the nearest school. They just don't care. So, but this man who visited Africa from the House of Lords in England, before it was UK. He made a very remarkable statement when he went back, and he said, I've traveled across the breadth and length of a certain land, and this land that I went to, it's amazing, it's fascinating. He was fascinated, and then he said, I saw a people, no one amongst them is jobless, and no one amongst them is homeless. And this man made a number of things, a number of statements, and his statement and utterances were actually true, because our concept of industry, business and commerce, my own grandfather, he died 3 months after I was born. I saw him, but I don't recognize him because I was only 3 months old when he died. But I have traceable, not even archaeological, but I have traceable, tangible evidence that this man, who never went to a British school, but this man was an industrialist. This man was a miner, a successful miner. He owned mines. He understood gold and copper and iron. And he would extract it, and he would further process it. He would further, he had a foundry of his own and a smelting furnace. And people were trading. People from as far as India and China. There are some places in India today with the Zimbabwean Shona names. There are some places also, one place in China, there's a Shona name because the Chinese were coming to trade artifacts. We have a honorable former minister of trade, industry, and commerce of Tanzania here. So this is why we are so passionate. We are here as well in Congress because we are passionate about Africa's reconstruction. And there is a dignity, a great dignity that was upon and amongst us, dignity that was celebrated even in the House of Lords, to say these people, they are not jobless. We were not jobless because we knew what gold looks like everywhere. We knew what minerals look like. We knew exactly foods that have medicinal and nutritional properties. That's why our people were living longer than today. That's why our people, a lot of the diseases that we have today, they were not existing back then. And that is also why in places like West Africa, in Ghana, people were practicing on the basis of indigenous knowledge systems. People were practicing highly sophisticated surgery with the successful operation. lost assets during the Second World War. America had actually gained wealth because America was selling weapons and ammunition to the Allied troops. So its economy boomed and grew. And so this one man, an American, who was actually a European in the diaspora, this one man crafted a plan for the reconstruction of Western Europe. The other motive was not just reconstruction, but the other motive was also to prevent the rest of Europe from being taken over by communism and the communists. But there was also an economic motive to say, as long as our people are poor, you cannot then guide them. Try to be a president in a refugee camp for 2 days and see whether you can administer law and order. It just doesn't work. So this man knew very well that the only way to rebuild and to bring stability in the whole Western European region, you have to work on the economy, trade, business, and commerce. But the fastest way of doing it is to bring integration and collaboration. And so through what then he designed it as the European Economic Recovery Plan. People then called it Marshall Plan after his name, but the proper name of the plan was European Economic Recovery Plan. That is the plan which then said and proposed to Western European leaders, proposed to them to say, let's not try to limit ourselves. I'm just extending even from what the panel was talking about here. Breaking barriers, breaking the limitations, breaking the trade barriers amongst ourselves. Africa today, it's trading statistics. We trade amongst ourselves only 17%. Only 17% versus the European Union, whose trade among themselves amounts to 85%. European Union, but Africa, it's only 70%. That is why we could not even survive for many months when the lockdown was on, because the lockdown was on, but we could at least have survived amongst ourselves by intra-trading. But we didn't even know how to intra-trade or how to trade ourselves. So I want to congratulate the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania for helping us by gathering us in this meeting, not only to celebrate 10 years, but to break barriers so that we can begin to intra-trade. We have got the Africa Continental Free Trade Area that was signed into an act. Many of the heads of states in Africa put their signatures to that. But that thing must filter down to real trade among real businesses, among real citizens. And this is now the business of bodies like, in Africa here, the Africa chapter of like Iccc, the chapters that we are rolling out across Africa in World Economic Congress and nationally through the enablement of bodies such as the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, so that we work together. I was so glad to see you, Dr. Lucas, because isn't it good to have an African from overseas, a Tanzanian from overseas, but who feels at home when at home? This is beautiful. This is beautiful. We started this session late. We started this whole event slightly late. But I would have told you about what we could have done if we had leveraged on President Obama. President Obama was a Kenyan. But because we were so disorganized, we didn't do enough to utilize the Kenyan who was a president over a superpower of the whole world. We didn't utilize Condoleezza Rice, Secretary of State, who was running the biggest budget of any foreign ministry in the whole world in Africa. We didn't do enough to utilize, even now, in so many regards. We're powerful Africans amongst the world. In fact, the United Nations, World Bank, IMF, none of those things can move without the contribution of Africans who are among them. But we are disconnected with one another. And this is a step of 1,000 miles, starts with one step. And this step is to be celebrated. Thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much, our very brilliant moderator from Kenya who has broken barriers. Let's clap hands for him. Let's see us come over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alexander Tisago. I feel the appreciation did not do justice just when he called me brilliant. So because of that, I would love us to give him a 3 factorial. Hesabu inawatatiza kidogo. Hamko vizuri kwa hesabu? Mko vizuri kwa Kiswahili? So 3 factorial is you start with 3 claps, then you go to 2, then 1. 3 together. 2, 1. Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Alexander Tisago, and you have reminded us to be passionate about reconstruction of Africa. I think passion is everything. It has to start with us, and you've reminded us of West Africa and Ghana and what happened there, and I can say that the climate for Dar es Salaam is the same climate in Accra, Ghana. Just struggling with humility to say that I've been to Ghana. So we also need not to look down on ourselves. That's a good reminder that you've given us. And you've reminded us about the war. I've learned something I didn't know. I was not very good in history. That in 1945, the destruction of Europe and when the war ended, and the most important thing we've been wondering where all the wealth that has made Dr. Lucas Shalua move to America came from. So thank you so much, Dr. Alexander, for unpacking for us why he has run to the US is because the economy boomed because of a war. Thank you for that information and reconstruction. So it is our business to reconstruct Africa. We really appreciate your wisdom and we appreciate sharing with us. Thank you, the President, World Economic Congress in Africa Reconstruction Alliance, Zimbabwe. And as we move on, we will have a video that will be playing, and this is Jan Stewardson. I hope I've done justice to the pronunciations. If I did do, I'll be coming back with a 500-word written apology. So, International Strategy Advisor and Speaker, the Chairman of International Board, ICCC, former partner and Chairman, PwC, Sweden. Media, please. And assuming he was present, we'll be clapping. Yeah. Are we ready? Media? Volume kidogo. Ama kwa wingi. Open notes for usanifu. So as the media gets ready with the video, it is important that we know that this conference is live at Agape Television Network, the first Christian television station in Tanzania. It's 22 years old. Yes, the video is ready, so it is good that you keep on smiling so that at least
friends in Tanzania, this is your...
Thank you.
Pastor Ozon, Chairman of Iccc National Board, and I would like to say greetings specifically to you, Isaac and Peter. It was great to see you at Stockholm, Isaac, and also Peter to see you in Nairobi. Could not be in this conference, but my dear friend Renee Kiamba is coming, and we really want to say have a great conference. We are so expectant and we're so thankful and blessed of the situation that we will now inaugurate and take a launch of Iccc in Tanzania. So just go with the flow, and the Lord will lead you. When we listen, God speaks. When we obey, God acts. And that's how we can take our strategies and plans to become an outward manifestation of an inward walk by faith, which will be a kind of implementing and manifesting the kingdom of God in practice. So go in God's grace, serve the Lord in liberty, in rest, work in rest, do something for someone, do something for the Lord. As Paul said, everything we do it as to the Lord. That's why we can work in rest. And also go and serve wholeheartedly the community, the nation, and the upcoming hundreds of members of Iccc in Tanzania. Let me also say that I think there's two legs right now in our focus. Number one is the power of crossing over, to come over to the other side, and understand that we have to follow the ark with the rod of Aaron, the manna, and also the Ten Commandments. Anointed teaching, supernatural provision, servant leadership. We follow, you as leaders, take a step, move over. In that new country, there is not peace, no fire, no cloud, no manna, but there is a walk by faith. The Lord said in the new country of milk and honey, welcome, manna's over, manna season is over, walk by faith. By the way, tomorrow you will conquer here. It is war spiritually, as it is between Hamas and Israel, violence, as we read in Genesis 26. We are here. We are fighting that fight. And it's interesting to understand that we probably will be taking in that land of milk and honey, but the Lord will say to you and to me, jump out of the boat, walk the waters. You know, when we look on that water, we see someone coming. And we have to discern if it's a ghost or if it's Jesus. And we know, if it's you, Lord, Peter said, please call me out. I say, the Lord will call you out on walking that water. And the interesting thing is that Jesus is really walking over the problem, which is the big waves. And the disciples are in the boat, trying to hide, trying to maybe pray to the Lord and say, please give us a better boat. But the real thing is, Jesus says, come. And when we do that action in faith, stepping out and doing things, then we have access to the kingdom. Then we have access to the realities of the Lord. In this hour, which is a very, very hard situation we are in the world today, but we know they overcome by the blood of Christ and their testimonies. So we need now to have an avalanche of testimonies, how the Lord is helping, walking together, or we are working together with Him during problems, during great times, whatever times we have. Because the future is about a walk with the Lord. That is why we are called into being. 40 years ago, about, soon celebrating that, by the way. But now it's time to be a prophetic, practical prototype of showcasing the Lord. But every industry, every work, every function, every sector has a yes and amen from the Lord. If that's the case, it says, because He would like to be honored through us. There's a yes and amen for everything. So go and serve the Lord, and do not be conformed to this world, but be renewed in your mind so you can understand what is the will of God. Understand this time. Go and serve and make transformed working life wherever you think it's applicable, and share the vision of a walk by faith and peace, liberty, and joy in the name of Jesus. Welcome to Iccc. Looking forward to see you in Germany next year, in 6th to 10th of November. The next international conference will be in Germany. Again, have a great conference. Bless you. Bye for now.
Yes, next to me I have Rene Kiamba. I've had the opportunity of knowing him very well over the last 2 days. He is a mentor, business coach, and visionary leader with over 15 years of managing director level experience, possessing proven abilities across all levels of organizational management. He's talented in developing partnerships, overseeing personnel, and developing tactical plans to meet strategic goals, and has over 40 years of business experience. He's a minister, serving God full-time in the marketplace by downloading wisdom from the future and practical strategies to effect successful change from a place of rest. He's internationally accredited as a mentor and business coach by MBCI. He's the founder and director of A New Thing Limited, a company with over 15 years of developing and managing global corporate CSR partnerships across multiple cultures and languages amongst NGOs, business schools, and universities to deliver leadership and management capacity in healthcare. He has served as the business development manager for PayNet Kenya. He's the former deputy general manager of Johnson & Johnson Kenya. He served as the chairman of Marketing Society of Kenya, the assistant general manager of sales for Kenya Breweries, sales manager and also divisional products manager for Johnson & Johnson Kenya, marketing services manager at Sibageki, and marketing representative for Coca-Cola Africa in French-speaking West Africa. So let us give Rene a round of welcome and thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Excellencies, honorable guests that are here, President of World Economic Congress, let me just say how much of a pleasure and a privilege it is for me to be here. I speak after my chairman in Sweden, Jan Sturluson, the chairman of the International Board of the International Christian Chamber of Commerce, and it's a privilege and a unique opportunity for us to be here and to join you as we celebrate not only 10 years of KLNT, but also the launch and birthing of the International Christian Chamber of Commerce in Tanzania. I have come with my dear wife, Jane Kiamba, from your neighboring nation of Kenya. We live in Nairobi. I don't know how we've not met, but we settled down. And we're really thrilled to be here. There's been many attempts in the past to have Iccc launched in Tanzania, but for some reason, God waited for the correct time. I really can only explain it that way. That Isaac had to appear on the scene, and Isaac, I celebrate you. I told folks yesterday that I heard about you almost close to 10 years ago, but we have only actually met this year. And I heard about Isaac because of other friends that we had here with Elema, Dayton Zelema, and others. And God purposed that through Isaac, we will get entry into the nation of Tanzania. And what a pleasure, what a joy, what a privilege to be here. And then put your hands together, 10 years of a growing leadership development program in Tanzania. It is not a joke. It's a difficult work to do. Isaac, you've done well. Thank you for helping this nation to develop leaders that will help us take Africa to the next stage. My president here, President of World Economic Congress, Chisango, made a comment and painted a picture of an Africa that many of us do not know. Sounds like another continent. And yet, this is our history. Meaning that something happened to us in between, and we lost something that we had. But I do really believe that the time has come for us to rediscover what we have lost and do even better because of the leadership that is being developed on this continent. And because the rest of the world, which is beginning to melt in many ways, is beginning to look to Africa because they know help for the globe rests on the continent of Africa. Because the wealth of Africa is still here because the people are still here. This is the wealth. One or two comments that really jumped at me during the panel meeting, the discussions, issues of integrity, trust, ethical behavior, partnerships and collaborations. These are going to be key for us as we move into the future because they will ground our businesses. We need to come to that place where our word is as good as a signed contract, that we can actually begin to trust one another and to work together. I recently also recognized the change that is unfolding across the world. This morning, during the service, I remember, but I didn't say so, that there was a time when Babylon, the entire Babylon system, attacked Jerusalem and took captives. It's recorded in the Bible, the times of Daniel. But we have now actually just come out of a captivity where Babylon did not have to attack physically or take us into captivity, but captured us and locked us up in our nations. We're beginning now to rebuild in this post-lockdown season, and we must rebuild in a better way that helps us to succeed in the future. It has been said by somebody that in times of change, learners inherit the earth, but the learned find themselves beautifully prepared for a world that no longer exists. Let us get the capacity to learn from one another, to collaborate, to receive and to give, not only mentorship but also coaching, so that together we can get better and operate at a different level. This is why we're collaborating with KL&T and coming to join your celebration, but also to launch this ministry. Our vision as ICCC is that we would see leaders who are full of integrity in the different nations, who fear God, who work with righteousness, but whose plans and strategies are an expression of an inner fear and faith of God. Because they fear God, they then do the things that they do. We know that when they do so and act in obedience to the word of God, there is a release of a healing to the nations. Something begins to change because God gets involved, because God is hiding and captured by his word, and he pursues and follows his word to perform it. So what would it be like if Africa was filled with leaders who know and fear God, who obey him, who serve the people with righteousness and with the fear of God? This is what ICCC sees. And when ICCC was founded almost 40 years ago by this businessman in Sweden, he had a dream of a people driven by the Spirit of God and the love of God, serving God, but serving one another through services and goods and services. And we were told by the panel that every business is really hidden behind a problem. And when we solve problems for those around us, we are able to unlock businesses. Because people want to buy solutions, but they also want to feel good as they access and use those solutions. So we exist for this purpose, to see the purposes of God revealed through the work that we do, through the leaders that are developed, and as we partner now with KLNT to bring equipping, to bring transformation, to bring a transformation of the mindset through the fear of God, then these leaders can be strengthened to serve and to support others. This is our purpose, to encourage and to equip believers, come alongside churches, work with their business people so that we can bring a different mindset that merges the work of faith with the work that we do, to reveal and bring healing to a broken world that is now staggering from sin. This is what we do. Therefore, righteousness, these are our key values: trustworthiness, truthful in action and in speech, fear of God and led by the Spirit of God. But then we also bring excellence to professionalism. This is what Daniel did, and they tried to audit him, and they tried to find fault with him, and they couldn't, because he worked with an excellent spirit. Our God is excellent. Let us not shortchange him by cutting corners, because we only cut ourselves. Therefore, in this journey together with God, we can actually bring our nations and our people back to the promised land, because we then work by the power of God to deliver his wisdom according to his plan, according to his blueprint, and to produce that which will bring healing for our people. Because our God tells us, I know the plans I have for you. That is at the individual level, but that is also at the national level. Because he created each and every one of us, each and every one of our nations, with a plan to advance the healing that comes to the world through Jesus Christ, his Son. This is why we are here. And in the dream, this man who started Iccc, Gunnar Olson, received a message the night that he was about to now travel to go and register the ministry in Brussels. And this dream spoke about trees, and he saw nations and people as trees. And the dream, the person that called him said that there are many small and big trees that will protect the plantation, because the time of a storm was ahead for the world. This was almost 40 years ago. We are already witnessing this storm. We have just come out of one storm, but we're being promised another one. God's people must find and become the refuge for the nations, so that we do not perish, because there is an enemy who came down to seek, to destroy, to kill, and to steal. But there is a deliverer who came that we may have life. And through his life, we must prosper, and we will prosper. So why is ICCC something good for you to consider? There are several things that we will offer and bring to you and bring to the table. We're able to discuss business, share experiences, learn from each other, pray for each other, be supportive of one another across the nations where we have membership. We're able to connect you with businesses and leaders in other nations that are trustworthy, that will do that which they say, because they fear God more than they love the money that your collaboration may produce. We're able to share wisdom and knowledge, experiences from those that have walked this path before us, so that we can learn practical help from them and be supported by them. God has given us a wonderful training program, and it's called Transformed Working Life. It is going to be made available to this nation for the leaders and to the churches and church leaders that want to apply and use it, because it is what God speaks about in Romans 12, that we be not conformed to the patterns of the world, but rather be transformed by the word of God, renewing our mind, so that we may discover the will of God for our lives. This is what we offer to ICCC, and it is a tremendous, tremendous privilege and joy to be here. Maybe my final word before I sit is that the way we work, we have an international board that deals with the international issues and manages the direction towards the vision of the ministry. But within the nations, we always have a local team that understands the issues within the nations, that can consult with God. What is it that you want us to do for our nation? So you take the vision, you contextualize it to your nation through a local leadership team that now Isaac has put together here to carry the vision of ICCC for Tanzania. And it may be different from the one that we have in Kenya, because it's a different nation. We're starting from a different place, and every nation is in a different place that is unique in terms of their history, their calling, their destiny, and what God has in plan for them. There is much, much in this nation that must and needs to be taught to other nations because of what already is being achieved through KLNT. I want to celebrate it, but I want to challenge you. Do not just come as a learner, come also as a teacher, come as a mentor, because there is much that we can learn from what Tanzania is doing to really release the glory that is in the heart of God for the people of Africa, for this nation of Tanzania, and for the entire globe. Because the benefit that will come out of Africa is not just for the Africans. It is for all of us, because Africa has always been a place of refuge and a place of help for the globe when things go south. This is our challenge, but this is the promise that we want to bring, and the promise that we want to bring to one another, but also to God who is calling us on this journey of transformation. Thank you very much, and once again, congratulations to Isaac and his team. Congratulations to Tanzania. Please clap for yourself. Appreciate yourself when you're doing beautifully and wonderfully. Please come. Thank you very much, Asanteni Sana. God bless you. And I really look forward to eating the fruit of ICCC out of this nation. God bless you.
Once again, a round of applause for Mr. Kamba. Well, thank you for letting us, reminding us that the time for Africa has come to discover what has been lost and for rebuilding a better way. I thank you for just that word. It's been an encouragement to me as well personally, and thank you for expressing the values of ICCC, doing business in a righteous, truthful way. And I think that is important, and that's the stage of this platform, being excellent in everything that we do. My sincere appreciation. Just quickly, before we go to the next agenda item, I just wanted to let everybody know that we're actually live on YouTube, on ATN TV, once again, Tanzania. And we're also on Star Times, channel 120. So for those who probably need to let people just know that we're actually live. Thank you very much. Just as I invite my colleague to introduce Isaac, I just also want to quickly point out some of the benefits of being a financial partner to KLNT is that you obviously get learning and development. There are business opportunities that are presented, but as we go along, more will be explained during the program. And just having that access to KLNT training programs at a discounted rate. So thank you very much. Please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joe. Daktari, asante sana. I'll keep on trying to perfect my Swahili, and by the end of the session, it will be perfect. It's a learning curve. And now we move to session 2. Did you get a moment to know who is seated next to you? Who is in the room? Did you sit next next to somebody you came with or a new person. So that we are not tired, please, again, greet the person on your right. Greet the person on your left. By the end of the session, I'll be asking you the name of that person and what they do and how they can be of value to your business or how they can be of value to your life. Because the people you meet, everybody you meet, is a key to a door that you'll never be able to open without him. I don't know whether Isaac can remember those words and where they came from. That everybody you meet is a key to a door that you'll never be able to open without them. Because another moment of struggling with humility. Before I tell you that moment, greet the person behind you. That will force you to stand up. Let's not be lazy. That's a moment for you to walk to the next table. Greet the person behind you. Greet the person behind you. And a good greeting of a business person is the left hand is holding the business card, the right hand is greeting the person. Until that person, everybody you meet is a key to a door that you'll never be able to open without them. I say the person, not the people. Let's follow instruction. I said person, I didn't say people. Yeah, welcome back to your seats, welcome back to your seats. Please have your seat, please take your seat. It was just a moment for you to stretch as you exchange business cards. Kindly, let's have our seats again. Let's have our seats. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Please take your seat. Somebody help me by helping somebody take their seat where they were seated. Hakuna security or tafadhali, tafadhali. Sasa Kiswahili chanitatiza, nitasema vipi watu wachukue viti? How do we say it? Because in Kenya ukisema chukua kiti, mtu atabeba kiti aende nacho. Nafaa kusema vipi? Aya, please take your seat kindly. Tafadhali. Please take your seat. Kindly take back your seat. Rudini kwenye viti. Mimi ndio nasema ile kitu ieleweke. Yes, tafadhali rudini kwenye viti vyenu. Yes. Sijasema naomba. Kenyans, we are accused of being arrogant. I'm not arrogant. That's how we speak. You're fine. Yes, naomba tafadhali rudi kwenye viti vyenu. Yes. So this moment, I would love to introduce, I have the privilege and the honor. I have the privilege and the honor to introduce Isaac Mpatwa. That slogan that I just mentioned, we were told by our professor. Isaac Mpatwa, a classmate, and it is my first time to be in Tanzania, courtesy of the people you know are a key to a door that you'll never be able to open without them. So from my classmate, and another moment of humility struggle from South Africa, Cape Town, just to show that we learned leadership. We were in a leadership class learning about how to rebuild Africa. And the vision bearer for this and the executive chairman and founder, KNLT. Allow me to read his bio. Isaac Mpatwa is a pioneer and visionary leader passionate about leadership development and national transformation. Isaac's ultimate vision is to see value-based leadership installed, operating and governing the nation of Tanzania and Africa. His personal and professional goals are to develop a model and identify applicable standards for ethical and value-based leadership and how to apply them effectively in the governmental, business, and other leadership dimensions of a multicultural society, particularly in developing countries. On 17 December 2013, he founded the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, KLNT, where he works as the president and the CEO. Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, KLNT, is a registered NGO, a certificate of registration number 00NGOR2383, and is a non-partisan and non-denominational organization that exists to identify, develop, mentor, and support ethical leaders for Tanzania and Africa at large. Kingdom Leadership Institute, KLI, Certificate of Incorporation number 133396, which is the training wing of KLNT and an interdisciplinary think tank for developing and supporting ethical, value-based leaders. KLI prepares leaders to excel holistically through moral guidance, mentoring, coaching, and practical leadership training. The core target for KLI is to bring up and give capacity to leaders who can transform business, government, politics, and economy through innovation, entrepreneurship, and investments, thus enabling the country and its products to provide world-class competition in the global marketplace. KLNT currently performs its vision and function through 10 platforms: Kingdom Leadership Institute, KLI, Tanzania-Israel Business and Investment Forum, TBIF, Tanzania-USA Business and Investment Forum, TBIF, Regency University Business Development Center, Tanzania, Governance and Leadership Development Coaching and Mentoring Program, Leadership and Business Summit, Economic and Empowerment Summit, Tanzania National Prayer Breakfast, Christian Leadership Forum, CLF, and Youth Leadership Forum. In April 2014, Isaac pioneered a bilateral business investment initiative between Tanzania and Israel, Tanzania-Israel Business and Investment Forum, TBIF. The forum to date is pushing forward the commercial ties of the two countries, exploring areas of business and investment cooperation, tapping the potential economic benefits, cementing the people-to-people, business-to-business, and government-to-government relations, as well as maintaining the steady development momentum of bilateral ties through economic partnership. Before founding KLNT, Isaac worked as a credit administrator of a large bank in Tanzania, National Bank of Commerce, after which he embarked on executive consultancy in developing business and strategic planning for the government, international organizations, and emerging enterprises. Isaac holds an MBA in Management and Marketing from Mid-Sweden University and has an undergraduate degree in Business Administration from Curtin University, Australia. And it is my honor this moment to invite Isaac Mpatwa, Executive Chairman and Founder, KLNT, to speak to us.
Honorable Rizwan Kikwete, Deputy Minister of State in President Office, Public Service Management and Good Governance, representing the Minister of State, who is not here. Honorable Frederick Sumaye, former Prime Minister of the Republic of Tanzania, Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, Chairman of the Board of the Uongozi Institute and the former Chief Secretary to the President. Board of Directors of the Kingdom Leadership of Tanzania and KLI, Dr. Alexander Chisango, President, World Economic Congress. Rene Kiamba, Director of Africa and Board Member of the International Business Chamber of Commerce. Business leaders, NGOs, distinguished guest speakers, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Good evening. I humbly welcome you to this historic day of a Leadership and Business Forum with a heart full of joy and gratitude as we gather to celebrate a remarkable milestone, the 10th anniversary of KLNT. A decade of passion, dedication, and relentless pursuit of excellence has brought us to this moment, and it is truly an honor to be part of this incredible journey. Thank you for honoring our invitation and making time to attend. We value your presence. The Kingdom Leadership of Tanzania is a non-governmental and non-partisan that exists to identify, train, coach, and mentor leaders across Tanzania and Africa. Since 17th of December 2013, KLNT has successfully run 10 platforms, of which you will briefly hear from a documentary. 10 years ago, a vision took shape. A vision that sought to redefine the landscape of ethical leadership and good governance by preparing leaders to excel in mind and actions through effective guidance, mentoring, coaching, and practical leadership trainings. This is achieved through fostering innovation, embracing collaboration, and creating a platform where ideas are encouraged to thrive. Today, we stand as a statement to the power of perseverance and the boundless possibilities that emerge when a group of like-minded individuals come together with a shared purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on the last decade, we cannot help but marvel at the challenges we have overcome, the milestone we've achieved, and the growth we've experienced. It is a statement to the resilience of our team, unwavering support of our partners, and the trust that our clients and customers have placed in us. However, we are mindful that along the way, there may have been instances that have conveyed differences in opinions and conduct. We would like to take this opportunity to reconcile our differences, and we start a new year. We are looking forward to a bright future together for KLNT, for the prosperity of our nation, Tanzania. Ladies and gentlemen, behind our success story, there are countless individuals who contribute their time, talents, and passion. I want to express my deepest gratitude to the leaders who laid the foundation, the dedicated team members who bring their best and every day, and our clients and partners who believe in KLNT journey. We want to express our appreciation to the local and international partners, institutions, organizations, agencies, and individuals. Our work could not have been possible without the significant and the needed support from our first board chairman, the late Honorable Ibrahim Kanuma, Mzee Godfrey Lema, Dr. Bernard Mwaka, and the former board chairman, who's here, Dr. Fred Gringo, the principal, Dr. Charles Sukili, all the board members, the current team, our friend and our mentor also, Honorable Ambassador Ombeni Sefui, and many others, including our current patron of the Kingdom Leadership in Tanzania, Honorable Mizengo Kayanza Peter Pinda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in recognition of the critical support and partnership from the government and its agencies, specifically but not limited, the government ministries, especially Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Industry and Trade, Planning and Investment, and agencies like Tanzania Investment Center, TAM Trade, Tanzania National Business Council, Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority, and many others that have been giving us support and partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, in particular, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, whom from the inception of this organization and NGO and our platform, she believed in this organization vision, especially during the first National Prayer Breakfast, of which she was the guest of honor and launched here in Tanzania. She was even proudly to identify herself as our patron. In conclusion, as we celebrate this momentous occasion, let us not only look back at what we have accomplished, but also look forward to the limitless possibilities that lie ahead of us. The future holds new challenges, new opportunities, and the promise of continued growth. Together, as KLNT family, I am confident that we will not only navigate the future, but shape it. To the new year of innovation, collaboration, and success. Happy KLNT 10th anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and good evening.
We can do better than that. I think that doesn't do justice to an executive chairman who has also taught us a few things. We have learned that let us not look back at what we have achieved, but look forward to limitless possibilities. That's powerful. That is very powerful. That let us not look back to what we have achieved. I think that speaks to me and it speaks to our hearts that we need to stop looking at our achievements, but look forward to what limitless possibilities we have. And we will not only navigate the future, but we will also be able to achieve greatness. So I think we can clap better to our executive. I said we can clap better, but I didn't say how. We follow instructions. I said we can clap better, but I didn't say how. So we can give him a 4 factorial. Hesabu tena. Mwalimu wa hesabu. In Kenya there is a joke that is going on about our mathematics teacher. Mwalimu wa hesabu hapa ni wapi? Those of you, maybe the mathematics teacher told you something that was not so nice when you were learning, and now you have gotten to that limitless possibilities that Isaac Mpatwa is talking about. You take your selfie and tag your mathematics teacher. Hapa ni wapi? Ulisema sitaenda pale. Ndio huyu hapa Tanzania. Si mbaya. Mwalimu wa hesabu alisema utaenda ba? Labda mwalimu wako wa hesabu alisema utaenda bali. Dr. Lucas. Wewe huyo uko wapi? USA. Mwalimu wako wa hesabu labda Kiambu alisema utaenda mbali. And you know we learned in our mother tongue. Mwalimu wako wa madhafu. That is in Greek and in Hebrew. Our mathematics teacher were known of saying, I don't know whether here, but of telling us and demoralizing us that we won't go far. But Isaac has just reminded us that we have limitless possibilities. And here we are, in a big hotel. See hapa ni Bali. So this is why we need to remind ourselves of the factorial mathematics. So can we give him a 4 factorial? 4? Sasa watu wameanza kufuata instructions. Yes. We start with 4. 4. 3. In my Greek language again, nimewafashia. It's only Kiamba who can understand what I just said. You need to do it in sequence. Yes, we need to do it sequentially. Otherwise, those are clapping 3, this other side is clapping 4. We do it in an organized manner because we are clapping for an executive chairman. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much for inspiring us. And I still have the privilege and the honor again to invite our next speaker who will be talking on ethical leadership, Uongozi Institute. And this is none other than Ambassador Obeni Sefue, the chairman of the board of directors of Uongozi Institute and the former chief secretary to the president and ambassador and the former permanent representative of Tanzania to the UN in New York. Let's clap for him as he comes up on stage. Ambassador Obeni Sefue, thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. It's nice having a neighbor like you. Did you hear that?
I missed that.
I say, it's good having a neighbor like you. Forgive me, I've a bit of a cold, so my voice is not so good, but I hope you will understand. Honorable Frederick Sumaye, former Prime Minister, Honorable Ziwani Kikwete, Deputy Minister, Public Service Management and Good Governance, my young brother Isaac, we've come a long way. See where you are today. Good to see you. Mr. Rene Kiamba, Dr. Alexander Chisango, President of World Economic Congress, all participants, all guests, I join you in thanking Almighty God for the opportunity to join you as we commend and celebrate the partnership between KLMT and ICCC, and to witness the launch of the ICCC Tanzania chapter. This is indeed a momentous occasion that has brought together KLMT members, partners, critical stakeholders, as well as business leaders from within the country, the region, and other international guests. And I join you in welcoming all the guests, and I really pray that this is a very successful event. Ladies and gentlemen, this Business and Leadership Forum is a continuation of a long-standing tradition initiated in Tanzania, and I was blessed to participate in launching the first such meeting on 17th March 2015. And I earnestly hope that this event will continue this tradition for many more years to come, and that those of us gathered here this evening will continue to be part of that process and remain committed citizens and friends of Tanzania for the good of our nation and our people. I also hope that the government of Tanzania, and I'm glad that the Deputy Minister is here, and I hope the government of Tanzania, through its appropriate machinery, We'll continue to encourage and support this most worthy initiative and other KLMT initiatives, including the Tanzania National Prayer Breakfast, a common practice in different countries all over the world, as you know. And working jointly with the government and other stakeholders, I think we should be able to host the Tanzania National Prayer Breakfast in Dodoma each year. At least that's my... Ladies and gentlemen, as part of your theme, you are focusing on building strategic partnerships for national transformation. Such partnerships are of great value, as we had in Tanzania, as I'm sure in all corners of the world. But for that to happen, you need strong leadership. Strong leadership. Leadership whose strength comes not from force, but by example, by persuasion, by ethical leadership, characterized by integrity in all aspects. So when I was invited to talk this evening, I thought I should dwell on ethical leadership, focusing on integrity as a virtue, not simply as a necessity or a code by which we are forced to operate, but as a virtue that comes from deep in our hearts. But what is integrity? A review of literature and listening from leaders and activists of all kinds shows there is no consensus on what exactly is integrity, ethics, or morality. Instead, there is what is assumed to be a common understanding of parts of ethics, of integrity, depending on the context in which they are used, or the goals, intent, and aspirations of the user of the term. However, I've distilled a few key aspects of integrity that I consider the minimum to describe someone of integrity. One is incorruptibility, by whatever name, whether it's facilitation, but incorruptibility and a firm adherence to a code of ethics in all things and being virtuous. Secondly, it's honesty, it's fairness, straightforwardness of conduct. And thirdly, rectitude and trustworthiness. In other words, while normally many people will associate lack of integrity with corruption, in reality, integrity is much, much more than that. Integrity comes from the Latin word integras, which embodies the characteristics of being intact, of being whole, of being harmonious. It therefore implies a state of wholeness, of completeness, as well as a state of consistency and coherence of principles and values. Integrity is therefore a virtue, and as such it shares company with other virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. As such, you may see a relationship between integrity and morals. In other words, notions of what is right and wrong, notions of good or bad. As somebody said, leadership is like a tree. In order to survive and bear the fruit of success, you must have the deep roots of character, deep roots of convictions, of values, of purpose. So what is ethics again? As a concept in our daily lives, not the philosophical space, ethics is basically about what is morally good or bad, and what is morally right or wrong. We can therefore talk of or refer to ethical conduct, ethical judgments, ethical principles, and you can go on. Likewise, all societies in all countries have over the years developed notions of right and wrong, of what is acceptable in a certain culture and what is not. Over time, societies and ultimately governments engaged in a more systematic study of what is morally right and wrong, hence the emergence of things like codes of conduct, whether they are written or not. There has also been the divine source or inspiration for the sense of right and wrong, encoded in ethics. And before government, such divine instructions and inspiration provide the basis for compliance, giving the clergy great influence in determining issues related to ethics. Kinships, reciprocities, altruism, and other inspirations for living up to certain shared moral standards and ethical conduct are also relevant. And now when we look at leadership, so leadership can likewise be hard to define, and it means different things to different people. But in its noun form, it can be considered into a few words: the action of leading a group of people or an organization. It can involve all or any of the following: guidance, direction, control, management, superintendence, supervision, organization, government. And leadership is a process, it's not a position. You don't have to hold a formal leadership role to be a leader. Good leadership is the use of key skills and practices correctly, applied at the right time to help the organization reach its highest potential. So leadership in its English roots, it implies to make go, to guide, to show the way. But in its Latin roots, it means to draw, to drag, to pull, to guide, or conduct. Leadership, therefore, is not absolute, it's relational. Whether you inspire or compel your followers, the relationship aspect endures. So like Machiavelli, we can ask, is a leader good because he is effective, because he delivers, or is he good because of his or her integrity? Can we instead have a value-based or value-imbued leadership that can deliver both effectiveness and integrity? Such a balance is what the Bible refers to in relation to David, when it says in Psalm 17:72, with upright heart, I hold that, upright heart, integrity, he shepherded them and guided them with his skillful hand, effectiveness. So he was good in both. So why don't we all aspire to be both effective but also be people of integrity? That is why, regardless of country, people want transformational leaders and transformational leadership. Leaders people can trust and can follow. You don't have to force them to follow you. They follow you because they trust you. And as John Maxwell, I'm sure many of you know him or have read him, he says, if you think you are leading and turn around to see no one following you, then you are just taking a walk. I'll repeat. If you think you are leading and turn around to see no one following you, then you are just taking a walk in the park. So what are the characteristics that define transformational leader of a country or organization? One, of course, is vision. If you don't know where you are going, you can't tell anyone where you are going. You can't lead. But it must be a realistic vision, a convincing vision, an attractive depiction of where you want to be in the future, not a dream. Secondly, you must have a sense of direction, a sense of priorities, motivation, inspiration. You must know what you want to do, why, and how. Teamwork, change management, so that those you lead can say, we did it together. Not you, them. They will say, we did it together with you, the leader. The Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, a leader is best when people barely know he exists. This day we will also see she exists. A leader is best when people barely know he or she exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. That's the kind of transformational leader you want. You must be proactive, with the capacity to solve problems, conflict resolutions, empowering those you lead, give them the tools to deliver. You must have a way of measuring delivery. Evaluation, vision adjustment, resilience. I know most of you know these concepts, but it's good to reflect them when you know. But now let's look at leadership as ordained by God. I'm sure all of us here believe that leadership originates from God, and that leaders are made, equipped, and enabled by God Himself for a particular purpose. Therefore, God requires us leaders to learn and tap into His leadership traits. So in addition to all the other issues discussed here, I came up with issues that I believe lie at the heart of what God would expect us to be as leaders. One, you have to believe that you are special, you are unique, and you have a contribution to make. There is a purpose for which God has assigned you a leadership position, whatever it is. He assigned it to you and not to any other person. So believe you are special, believe you are unique, believe you have a contribution to make. God has blessed you. It's okay to be blessed, to have abundance. There are people who think that if you are honest, you are somebody of integrity, you can't be rich. No, you can be both. God has blessed you. It's okay to be blessed. It's okay to have abundance. It's God's will to make you prosper. The greatest thing you can do for the poor is not to join their ranks. The greatest thing you can do for the poor is not to be poor, because then you are useless. But, this is the big but, if you are blessed, be a blessing to others. Get and give, and you will be blessed. Luke 12:48 says, everyone to whom much was given, of him much will be required. And from him to whom they entrusted much, they will demand the more. Next, power, positions or prestige alone will not give you peace. You may have all the power, you may hold all the positions, you may have prestige. Those alone will not give you peace. Peace comes from God. And integrity is key to that. Moral character is part of the divine leadership training. Leaders must have a strong moral compass with values that shape your vision and meet God's expectations of us. Jesus made it clear by word and by personal example that leaders must be servants and must not have superior attitude. In Matthew 20:25-28, it says, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as ransom for many. What better lesson for us? So, a few critical characteristics of ethical leadership, because time is running out. One is you have to learn, lead by example. You have to be a team player. You must always be willing to evolve, communicate openly. You have to learn to manage stress and mediate faithfully. And mindset is crucial. In the entire human existence, ethical leadership has not always been easy. Indeed, it can be difficult. For you to succeed in being an ethical leader and set an example to others, you must have the correct mindset, It's not enough to be ethical because you are forced to, but because that is what you are made of in your heart and in your mind. And as a leader, you must grow and embrace the right mindset, and then ensure the same for both new and the old people you lead. In conclusion, with leadership, while leadership can be challenging, it can also be gratifying when leaders know how to be transformational, how to be ethical and effective. Therefore, I call upon every leader to understand that leadership is a means created by God to see his people on this part of the earth thriving and enjoying his creation. We should therefore do our best to deliver, which is possible if we decide to be God-fearing leaders. And remember always, all of you have important contributions to enhancing ethical conduct and ethical leadership. Prioritize this, ensuring good example to others. Ethical leadership is much more than not breaking any laws or rules or codes of conduct. It has to come out of a deep sense of right and wrong, as well as national interests and the image of the government and the company you lead as a whole. There isn't just one way to lead ethically. However, there are some basic elements that are fairly consistent among ethical leaders, and certainly in the Christian faith. Developing these traits will help to create ethical leaders. Remember, and again I conclude by a few words from John Maxwell, anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. And leadership develops daily, not in a day. The true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. The only thing a title can buy is a little time, either to increase your level of influence with others or to erase it. And trust is the foundation of leadership. Thank you for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Ambassador Obeni Sefue. And I don't know how many of us felt like we were in a practice of management class. Was I feeling that way alone? As if it was a full MBA class, practice of management. Because there are a few things that we have learned that to be an ethical leader, you need to be someone of integrity. And basically, integrity is who you are when no one is watching. That is what we call integrity. Who you are when no one is watching. You need to be incorruptible, you need to act with fairness, with straightforwardness, and you need to be morally upright, knowing what is right or wrong. And the joke and the quote from John Maxwell, that if you think you are leading and you turn around and no one is following you, you're just taking a walk in the park. That's deep, but a variable lesson. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for reminding us that a leader is best when people barely know he or she exists. Very deep and valuable lessons from your speech, and whether yes, and Dr. Joe is just reminding me to say two things that he thought is not in my talking notes. Thank you for that reminder, that a leader can either inspire or compel. Which leader are you? Do you compel people to follow you, or do you inspire people to follow you? And you can still do two things. You can still be effective, and you can still be a leader of integrity. And become a leader who is transformational, and when you're that, people will trust and will follow you. So leadership is like a tree. So it needs to be deeply rooted. So those are valuable lessons, and there is a question I'm asking myself, and we're asking ourselves with others. Ambassador, is there a book that you have written on that? So the people in this room, especially I from Kenya, I would love to carry that book called Ethical Leadership, Ambassador, so-and-so from Tanzania, because the depth of your speech is a full book. Did you feel that? Did you just feel that? You know, it was my turn to return the injection of appreciation because he said he's happy to have a neighbor like me, so I'll be happy to read his book. And with that, this moment, it is a moment again to go back to our math class to appreciate Ambassador for the wonderful speech with a 4 factorial. Yes. Tanzania, tafadhali mwalimu lazima arudie mara kadhaa. Leaders. No, but we already did 4 factorial. So is it true what they say that Kenyans are very fast? No, I meant we are fast in the marathon. Why are you mistaking what I just said? Now I'm just being hit with Ambassador's speech that if I'm leading and nobody is following, I'm taking a walk. So if I'm leading the clap here and nobody is clapping, then I'm taking a walk in the clapping. Okay, 4 factorial, we start with 4. 3, 2, 1. At this moment, before we welcome the next speaker, we would love to have the video for the executive chairman. Please play it for us, media, kindly.
Ni hamu ya kila apandaye mbegu kuona ikistawi na kumzalia matunda mengi aliyotarajia. Ni hamu ya kila apandaye mbegu kuona ikistawi na kumzalia matunda mengi aliyotarajia. Katika ardhi ya Tanzania ilipandwa mbegu ya kuandaa viongozi waadilifu wenye ubora, taaluma na weledi wa juu utakaokuwa mfano wa kuigwa katika bara la Afrika. Mpanzi wa mbegu hii akisumbuliwa sana na shauku la kuona taifa la Tanzania na bara la Afrika likiongozwa na viongozi waadilifu wenye hofu ya Mungu na wenye weledi wa hali ya juu, akaanza safari ya kukuza mbegu hii. Ilimchukua takriban mwaka mmoja mpanzi huyu kuandaa mbegu yake kabla ya kuipanda katika ardhi ya Tanzania. Mbegu hii iliyokuwa kwa mfano wa maono na shauku kubwa ilianza kwa mpanzi huyu akiwa anamalizia masomo yake ya shahada ya uzamili katika utawala, uongozi na biashara katika chuo kikuu cha Mid Sweden mwaka 2011. Alipoamua kurudi nchini mwaka 2012, mpanzi huyu alikuza mbegu yake kwa kuwekeza katika kuwapatia vijana walezi wa kiroho, walezi wa kitaaluma, kisiasa na watu wa kuombea ili wazidi kufanikiwa katika safari yao ya kuwa viongozi bora wa taifa letu la Tanzania na bara la Afrika. Mbegu hii ilipewa jina la Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, KLNT, na mpanzi wake Isaac Makala Mpatwa. Haikuwa rahisi. Mbegu hii ilikumbwa na dhoruba kubwa, huku mpanzi akikutana na vipingamizi vya kila aina, lakini hakukata tamaa, kwani walipatikana wachache waliomshika mkono kumwambia unaweza, twende pamoja, ikiwemo familia yake pamoja na bodi ya ushauri na walezi wa KLNT, miongoni mwao wakiwa ni Dr. Bernard Mwaka, Mzee Godfrey Lema, Mheshimiwa Ibrahim Kaduma alikuwa mlezi wa kwanza wa KLNT, pamoja na waziri mkuu mstaafu Mizengo Pinda ambaye sasa ndiye mlezi wa KLNT. Pia walishirikiana na wajumbe kutoka nje ya nchi kama Dr. Abu Bako na Dr. Emmanuel Kure kutoka Ghana na Nigeria. Mbegu hii ilipoanza kukua na kuzaa matunda, iliunganisha wafanyabiashara na viongozi wengi wa Tanzania na mataifa mengine na kukuza diplomasia ya uchumi na uhusiano wa Tanzania na mataifa hayo kama taifa la Israel na Marekani. Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania ni mtandao wa kuandaa viongozi wa kitaifa na kimataifa wenye kufanya kazi yao kwa uweledi, uadilifu, ubora wa hali ya juu na hofu ya Mungu. Safari ya miaka 10 ya KLNT ilianza rasmi tarehe ya 17 Disemba 2013 iliposajiliwa rasmi kiserikali kama taasisi ya kuwajengea uwezo viongozi, na kuendelea kukutana na kubadilishana uzoefu wa masuala mbalimbali ya uongozi, biashara na uwekezaji, hasa sekta ya kilimo, teknolojia, utalii na viwanda. Miaka 10 ya mbegu hii ya KLNT imeweza kuzalisha matawi imara 10, huku matunda yake yakiwafaidi si wa Tanzania pekee, bali Afrika na hata nje ya Afrika, hasa nchi ya Israel na Marekani. Tawi la kwanza, Business and Leadership Forum, lililozinduliwa tarehe 17 ya mwezi Disemba 2013 na mkutano wa wafanyabiashara na viongozi. Business Leadership Forum. Mkutano huu umekuwa ukiongezeka kwa ukubwa kila ulipofanyika. Ulianza na watu 200 tu mpaka kufikia watu 1000 katika mkutano wa 4 tu. Mikutano hii imeendelea kufanyika kila mwaka katika mikoa mbalimbali nchini Tanzania. Tawi la pili likawa programu ya ushauri na malezi kwa viongozi wa kisiasa na kiserikali, hasa vijana. Governance and Leadership Mentoring Program. Hapa viongozi na vijana walio na shauku ya kuwa viongozi hupewa washauri ambao wanao karibu, wakiwashauri katika hatua zote wanazopitia kisiasa. Tawi la tatu likawa alama ya kuimarisha uhusiano wa taifa la Tanzania na Israel. Mataifa haya yakawa tayari kushirikiana kibiashara na uwekezaji. Tawi hili likaitwa Tanzania Israel Business Investment Forum, TBIF. Jukwaa la biashara na uwekezaji baina ya Tanzania na Israel. Majukwaa haya yamekuwa yakikutanisha wafanyabiashara na wawekezaji wengi kutoka Tanzania na Israel, na yamekuwa yakifanyika Tanzania na Israel kila mwaka kwa miaka 8 sasa. Tawi la 4, Tanzania National Prayer Breakfast. Mwaka 2016, KLNT ikaona vema kama zilivyo nchi nyingine za Marekani, Uingereza, Australia, Kenya, Rwanda na Uganda kuandaa siku ya viongozi wa juu wa nchi kwenye serikali.
Invitation for the 6th Tanzania National Prayers Breakfast on 24th June 2023, Dodoma Convention Center, kwa maana Jakaya Kikwete Convention Center.
Viongozi wa biashara, taasisi zisizo za kiserikali, viongozi wa kiimani kuja pamoja kujadili na kujifunza uongozi wa uadilifu na wenye hofu ya Mungu, utawala bora, pamoja na kuliombea taifa, viongozi wake, rasilimali na wananchi wake. Siku hii ilizinduliwa rasmi na Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, wakati huo akiwa makamu rais. Mwaka 2017, KLNT ilianzisha taasisi ya uongozi kwa ajili ya kuwanoa na kuwakuza viongozi bora kwa ajili ya taifa na bara letu. Taasisi hii ilipewa jina la Kingdom Leadership Institute. Hili likawa ni tawi la 5 la KLNT. Mwaka 2018, KLNT ilivuka mipaka ya Tanzania na kuanzisha uhusiano kati ya taasisi ya uongozi ya KLI na chuo kikuu cha Regent nchini Marekani, kisha kuanzisha tawi la 6 la KLNT ambalo ni Business Development Center, BDC. Hii ilitokea wakati mpanzi wa mbegu ya KLNT, Isaac Mpato, alipokuwa masomoni nchini Marekani katika chuo kikuu cha Regent kilichoko jijini Virginia, akifanya degree ya 3 ya udaktari katika uongozi wa kimkakati. BDC ni kituo cha mafunzo kwa wafanyabiashara, viongozi na wajasiriamali kujifunza biashara kwa vitendo. Regent University kwa kushirikiana na KLI wamekuwa wakiendesha mafunzo kwa wafanyabiashara na wajasiriamali katika mikoa ya Dodoma na Dar es Salaam tangu 2020 na tarehe 11 Novemba 2023 kilizinduliwa kituo kingine jijini Arusha. Mpaka sasa zaidi ya wajasiriamali 100 wamefuzu kutoka hatua ya wazo mpaka kuanzisha biashara za kati na kubwa, wakishiriki kuchangia pato la taifa na kuongeza ajira nchini. Christian Leadership Forum, hili ni tawi la 7 la KLMT lililoanzishwa mwaka 2020 kwa lengo la kuwaleta pamoja viongozi wa juu kutoka madhehebu yote na kuongezea maarifa viongozi ili washiriki vema katika kuandaa waumini wao kuwa viongozi wa taifa letu wenye hofu ya Mungu kupitia nyumba zao za ibada. Mwaka 2021 KLMT ikaona vema kuanzisha jukwaa mahususi kwa vijana kujifunza masuala mbalimbali ya uongozi, Youth Leadership Forum. Hapa vijana hukutanishwa na viongozi waliofanikiwa katika nafasi zao za uongozi kutoka ndani na nje ya nchi ili kubadilishana uzoefu wa namna bora ya uongozi. Tanzania USA Business and Investment Forum, TUBIF. Hili ni tawi la biashara na uwekezaji baina ya Tanzania na nchi ya Marekani lililoanzishwa mwaka 2021. Lengo ni kuimarisha uhusiano wa kibiashara na uwekezaji baina ya mataifa haya mawili chini ya mwavuli wa Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania. Sasa anatambulisha kwako tawi la 10 la KLMT, International Christian Chamber of Commerce, ICCC. Mtandao unaunganisha wafanyabiashara wa Kristo kote duniani, zaidi ya nchi 100 kutoka mabara yote duniani, na kwa mara ya kwanza inazinduliwa nchini Tanzania. Ni miaka 10 sasa tangu mbegu hii ya KLMT imeweza kuzalisha matawi imara 10, huku matunda yake yakiwafaidi si wa Tanzania pekee bali Afrika na hata nje ya Afrika, hasa nchi ya Israel na Marekani. Mungu ibariki KLMT. Mungu ibariki Tanzania. Mungu ibariki Afrika.
Wow. That was powerful. I think for those of us who have walked the journey, we remember some of those pictures, some of those lovely faces of people who gave their hearts and passion and everything about themselves towards the success of this mandate. You know, it was nice to see Dr. Kaduma, Dr. Lema. You know, these are men who steered this ship during the dark times. I mean, for those who have walked this journey, I think we understand. So thank you very much for that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful documentary, brief documentary on KLMT. And I think Dr. Ekel, I think this deserves a clap. A clap. So why don't you come here and at least consolidate everybody so that we can give a nice clap. A four clap. What do you call them?
Okay, we can switch the clap so that you don't use my Kenya. Yes, so we can switch the clap and we can, was it that beautiful? Yeah. It was beautiful, right? Yes. So if it was beautiful, let's prepare a very nice bouquet. Bouquets? Okay, that is, Sasa, what is a bouquet of flowers in Swahili? Shadala? Ah, beautiful roses. How many do we need? How many roses do we need to fill it? 5 roses. So please, from this side, no, you can't do roses when you're seated. If you show up at a lady's door with roses and a seed, will she take you seriously? Yes. So pick some roses from this side, from the farthest that you can get, very beautiful roses, not mosquitoes. The first one was the one for mosquitoes. Now it's roses, beautiful roses. Fill them. This other side, some beautiful roses. Yes, make sure they are beautiful. Does it really look beautiful? Aya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ekran. Now we move to the next agenda on the program. Our next speaker needs no introduction. He is a man that sat in the realms of power and led this nation with great dignity, and we wish to take this opportunity to invite our next guest for special guest remarks on governance and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our Honorable former Prime Minister, Honorable Frederick Nwai Sumai, on the stage. Thank you.
Honorable Idwani Kikwete, our guest of honor, who is the Deputy Minister in the President's office responsible for public service and good governance, Honorable Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, who is the Chairman of the Board of Directors of Bongozi Institute and our former Chief Secretary. Isaac Mpatwa, Rene Kiamba, Alexander Chisango, all the business leaders here, our media people, distinguished guest speakers and participants, ladies and gentlemen. As you have been introduced, I don't need to repeat my name, but I'm a politician. I have spent a lot of good time of my life in politics. And I have been given to speak about leadership and governance. So my focus and direction will be slightly different from what Ambassador Sefue has talked. He has talked like as an expert in management, which is what he is. I will talk as a politician. So it is indeed a great honor and privilege to stand here to give remarks on governance and leadership, especially from my point of experience in Tanzania, in Africa, and beyond. First, let me begin by thanking our Lord, our God, for blessing us with an active life to witness this most historic day for our institutions and our country. Second, as we have already heard from our previous speakers, KLMT is on the right path and on course. I want to use this opportunity to commend KLMT and assure you that your continued support for this country in empowering and nurturing leaders, especially young ones, will usher in a new development epoch. Ethical leadership and good governance are essential to community progress and development. However, any gaps in good governance and ethical leadership in any country will result in corruption, greediness, egotism, nepotism, embezzlement of public funds, poor development, and other ills in the society and the country at large. The government and other stakeholders have tried to address the above challenges, but we are not there yet. Therefore, the founder members of KLMT 10 years ago decided to initiate this organization to realize and execute community development, national transformation, and poverty eradication agenda. There is a need to raise, prepare, and support successful political, governmental, business, and social community leaders who are empowered and equipped with an understanding of value-based ethical principles, business, ethics, moral economics, and investment principles, and able to steer the nation's effective leadership and economic transformation. Also, in moving forward, I noted that KLMT has two priorities on the agenda to put this country on a new development path. First, to use their current economic platforms, namely the Tanzania-Israel Business Investment Forum, the Tanzania-USA Business and Investment Forum, and the Regent University Business Development Center, Tanzania, to foster national leadership development programs and economic transformation projects in the country. With that in mind, their second priority is to invest heavily in training, mentoring, and good education on ethics, morals, and value-based leadership. In this regard, KLMT, in collaboration with the Regent University from the US, the International Christian Chamber of Commerce from Sweden, and many other local universities and leadership institutions, will focus on providing developers, leaders, and entrepreneurs access to cost-effective sources of capital. Mwalimu Nyerere professed that countries of our like will have to go through 3 stages of liberation. The first is the political liberation, which is the flag independence. He said this was the most accessible stage because it required political agitation with mass popular support. The second concerned mental liberation, which is the decolonization of the mind. And the third was economic liberation. The last two were and are still the most complex and arduous. I understand that KLMT is committed to ethical and value-based leadership and seeking God's blessings for everything they do. For everything they do, propose and advise. Therefore, I hope the government will see KLMT as a reliable partner in development and work with them closely in the final stages to liberate Tanzania economically, hopefully making Tanzania the shining star of Africa and the salt of the developing world in these liberation struggles that I have mentioned. I sincerely thank the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania for the excellent organization of this meeting, the launch of the International Chamber of Commerce, and the 10th anniversary of KLMT. Distinguished delegates, this forum is about values in the present and future leadership. It is therefore fitting that its focus is on enhancing and exchange to develop leaders who are God-fearing and ethical, leaders who are committed to excellence and unadulterated professionalism, committed patriots who love their countries and are ever ready to promote and protect national interests and other people's well-being. Leaders who are determined to ensure that the God-given natural resources of each country are utilized and developed in the best interests of the people, and more importantly, leaders who are selfless and committed to serving the common good. This brings me to the issue of the youth who are the future of our societies and nations, the hope of the world of tomorrow. As with all young people in all generations, they are full of enthusiasm and idealism, sometimes recklessly. But the youth of today face particularly challenging times. Everything is connected, everything is fast-moving, and everything is temporary. The social media, a powerful tool, empowers them to bring down what they do not like, but does not empower them to build what they want. No wonder some feel lost and desperately grab any fashionable ideology. The pendulum keeps swinging from side to side, and social media cannot help to stabilize it. We, therefore, must do something to help our youth. They are our inheritors and our future. A few things are essential. We have to ensure they have roots and a moral compass. The first gives them a sense of belonging, and the second, a sense of purpose. Together, they will give our young people a sense of direction and responsibility. To a large extent, it is about education and socialization. It has to begin at home. Pope Benedict the 16th captured this very well on the 14th of January 2011 when he said, and I quote, "It is in the family that children learn the human and Christian values which enable them to have a constructive and peaceful coexistence. In the family, they learn solidarity between the generations, respect for values, forgiveness, and how to welcome others." End of quote. I believe these are some of the foundations for responsible and ethical adulthood. They give children roots and a moral compass. That is also why King Solomon admonished the youth, and it's written, "Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They will be a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck." Proverbs 1:8-9. Ladies and gentlemen, two issues need to be addressed here. The first is whether today fathers and mothers give proper instructions to their children. How much of what children learn today comes from parents, and how much is from television, internet, social media, and peers? The second issue is one example. We have all heard that example is the best way to teach and lead. Children learn more from what parents do, not what they tell, not what they tell them. Bertrand Russell, the Welsh philosopher, put it succinctly when he said, we have two kinds of morality. We have two kinds of morality side by side. One which we preach but do not practice, and another which we practice but seldom preach. Maybe I need to repeat that one. We have two kinds of morality side by side. One which we preach but do not practice, and another which we practice but seldom preach. If your children know you are dishonest and lack integrity, it does not matter how much you lecture them about the virtues of honesty and integrity. We have to ask ourselves, honestly, what kind of role models we are as parents to our children. The next step is what happens in our schools, hoping that what parents may have failed to teach their children can be passed on to them in schools. Perhaps as a nation, we need to look again at the curricula in our schools, colleges, and universities. People have all complained that when we stopped sending our young people to the national service here in Tanzania, specific critical values disappear in those who join the public service. Those who join the public service without going to the national service. Me, for one, went to the national service. It is an admission that the national service curriculum imparted upon our young people particular values, including integrity and patriotism. Aristotle warned us. He said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. And on this path, C.S. Lewis, one of the intellectual giants of the 20th century, added, and I quote, education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make a man a cleverer devil. Lewis says, education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a cleverer devil. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, let me reiterate the following remarks about good governance and ethical leadership. I want to put it clear from the beginning here that what I'm going to say does not in any way refer to any particular person or a country, and certainly not Tanzania. It is just my general observation with particular focus on Africa. Good governance can occur in any system of governance, and likewise, bad governance can occur in any system of governance. It does not matter whether you have a multi-party democracy, single-party democracy, monarchical system, or any other system of governance in existence. That means in any of those systems, you can have good governance, and in any of those systems, you can also have bad governance. If you are in a multi-party or single-party democracy, but you steal or rig election results, that is not good governance. If public funds and resources are mismanaged or stolen altogether, it is obviously bad governance. If you do not abide by the Constitution, by the laws of the country and regulations, you are practicing bad governance. These are just a few examples of bad or good governance. Let us now look at the ethical leadership. We start at how you came to power. If you stole or rigged the election results, you or your agents, election results by you yourself or your agents, you are an ethical leader and a thief at the same time. If you cannot tolerate dissenting voices or criticisms from other people, while the Constitution gives them that right, you are a bad leader. If you put people in jail without following due process of the law, you are a bad leader. If the Constitution says the presidency is a two-term affair, and you try to maneuver a third term under whatever reasons or circumstances, you are a bad leader. If you make your children, family, and friends filthy rich at the expense of the poor, you are a very bad leader. These are again just few examples. Africa, we are told and we know, is the second largest continent after Asia, and more importantly, is the richest of all continents in terms of natural resources. So why is Africa poor? You will get various answers for this question, ranging from slave trade to colonization, from liberation wars to cold wars, from negative impact of COVID-19 to now wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. Some of these are just historical events of the past. Some are quite recent and still active, but they are impacting Africa just as they are impacting everybody else on the globe. So there must be a different reason or reasons why Africa is poor. To me, the main culprit is bad or poor leadership. Bad leadership breeds bad governance. Bad leadership and bad governance breed corruption, nepotism, tribalism, irresponsible and unaccountable government. And the end result is sickening poverty, and if this goes further, it can drive a country into public unrest and even civil wars to destroy the little that had been achieved. Because of bad governance and bad leadership, leaders tend to amass a lot of wealth using their positions, and because such wealth cannot be accounted for, such leader will cling to power at whatever cost for his security and the security of his ill-acquired wealth. President Mkapa, the late President Mkapa, once said in a World Economic Forum held in Dar es Salaam that the problem of many African leaders is greediness. Nelson Mandela once said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lived." I want to paraphrase him to suit public service by saying that what counts in public service is not the positions we hold or the seats we won. What matters is the difference we make in the lives of others, which is what will determine the significance of the positions we held or we hold. That is why we call it public service. We have to serve the public not save ourselves. And we have to contribute to the social and economic development of the country and promote and defend its legitimate interests. It has to be primarily about people, not ourselves. And it has to be about justice and righteousness, which can bring blessings to our country. So, ethical leadership in government and the corporate world is all about core values, knowing ourselves and having the courage to live our core values in all aspects of our lives to serve the common good. Ladies and gentlemen, this forum continues a long-standing tradition initiated in Tanzania in 1914. I believe and trust it will be one that will continue for many, many years to come for the good of our nation and all the people, because it allows us to gather together in one accord to learn more about leadership and trust God for the well-being of our country. I hope the government of Tanzania will continue encouraging and supporting these worthy initiatives under KLT through its appropriate machinery or activities like the first Tanzania National Prayer Breakfast, which was held in Dar es Salaam in March 2016. This could be an annual event like many other countries do. A joint national prayer breakfast organizing committee could jointly organize, oversee, and prepare this important event annually and find a way to take it to the ground across the country, where the people and local communities live, to the grassroots to learn more about ethical leadership for our nation's transformation. It is my sincere hope that those of us who are gathered here this evening will continue to become an integral part of the committed citizens and friends of Tanzania who pray for her fervently, for her leaders and her people, especially our beloved President, Her Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and her team in the government. Prayers are essential, and the Bible says, God blesses the works of our hands. So let us all pray well and work hard to build our nations. Lastly but not least, I would like to use this opportunity to thank the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania for hosting this wonderful gathering. And congratulations on your 10th anniversary celebrations. I also commend the launching of the Iccc, because our moderator is very afraid of Iccc, Iccc Tanzania chapter. There is somewhere they say I welcome the guest of honor, but I think that will be done by the moderators. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Frederick Sumaye, the former Prime Minister of Tanzania. We have learned a lot from your speech, and one thing I'll take home for me is that we have two kinds of morality. The one we preach and we do not practice, and another side which we preach but rarely practice. Which side of morality do you practice? You can answer that in your hearts. You don't want anybody embarrassing themselves. So, education without values seeks to make a man a cleverer devil. Honorable Prime Minister, Do you have a book on governance and leadership? Yes, I think the next ICC, I'm very careful of ICC, ICC, we would love to read those books because the depth of these speeches are volumes of books and valuable lessons. Because I know, like, just those two quotes that you have just mentioned, it will be necessary for us. And it is important that we can remind those who are at home that we are live on ATN TV Tanzania, on StarTimes channel 120, and we are also live on KLNT online TV on the YouTube channel. And Honorable Prime Minister, when you were starting your speech, you told us you will talk to us as a politician. I think it's the high time we return the favor and appreciate you like a politician. So we clap for him as a politician. And using your speech, putting your words, and this clap is not meant for in reference to any country nation. This clap is just to appreciate the Prime Minister for speaking to us. And in a particular country, this is how people appreciate the politicians. Prime Minister, thank you for speaking to us. You clap twice as I speak. Twice. I didn't say you start. I only gave the guideline how the clap will go. And the disclaimer is that this clap is not in reference to any country, because we have been taught how to speak like a politician. We have to put disclaimer. So we would love to appreciate and applaud you for speaking to us and teaching us valuable lessons full of wisdom. And we challenge you that at least you write for us a book on leadership and governance. Please do not leave us without that documented wisdom, because it will train most of us and across Africa. And it is that season that Africa is exporting wisdom. We have lots of it and lots of it, but we do not have it documented in books. It's a chance for us to do that. As we export labor across the world, at the same time we can also export leadership and governance in other nations. So when I mention what he has said, you clap twice until we finish. That is how we clap for politicians. And it is not in reference to any nation. So, Honorable Prime Minister, thank you for speaking to us. Thank you very much for telling us that we have two kinds of morality. The one that we practice, and the one that we rarely practice. The one that we preach, and we never practice, and the one that we are practicing. Fuga, fugua, makofi, asante sana, Honorable Prime Minister. And this moment, I have the singular honor to welcome the guest of honor. And before I welcome the guest of honor, there are these forms on joining Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, and I believe they are available at the registration desk, and more will be told about the same. So when you see the ushers come to you, they're just trying to tell you what it's all about and the benefits and the packages that are available. I believe this is a good network, and how I wish I was living in this country to be able to get this kind of network. And this moment, a few years ago, there is one president from East Africa who said something that we have been using as a quote from where I come from, that if someone gives you money, definitely he will be interested in knowing how you spend the money. So when that president said that, we have been using that as an excuse, especially me as a parent to my children, to ask for them to verify how they are spending the money. At this moment, we have our guest of honor address, who will address us for at least 15 minutes in the interest of time. And the guest of honor is Honorable George B.M. Sibachawe, who will be represented by the Deputy Minister of State for Public Service Management and Governance, Honorable Ridwan Kikwete. Honorable Ridwan Kikwete will be addressing us, and he will tell us where the quote I mentioned came from. So let us welcome with him with a 5 factorial as he comes in as our guest of honor to address us. Hey, let's clap until he gets on stage. Honorable Ridwan Kikwete, you're most welcome. Please, we have the honor to listen to you. Please.
Honorable Frederick Sumaye, former Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, Ambassador Wen Sefue, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Uongozi Institute, and former Chief Secretary to the Government of the United Republic of Tanzania, Executive Chairman and founder of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, Mr. Isaac Mpatwa, Board of Directors of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania and its affiliated Kingdom Leadership Institute. Also allow me to recognize the presence of the President of the International Christian Chamber of Commerce, Iccc Jan Tursson from Sweden, who is in absentia, Rene Kiamba, Director of Africa, board member of the International Christian Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Alexander Chisango, President of World Economic Congress, your eminent pastors and faith leaders from all the denominations, business leader presence, NGO leaders and entrepreneurs, key medias, journalists, print, TV and radios here present, distinguished guests, speaker and participants, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Dear esteemed participants, first let me take this opportunity to thank God, our Creator, for His merciful deeds and grace, and for the blessing us with the life to witness this great day and this Business and Leadership Forum with the 10th anniversary of King Leadership Network Tanzania and the starting of International Christian Chamber of Commerce here in Tanzania. It is my privilege to stand before you and deliver this speech on behalf of my boss, my brother, Honorable Minister George Boniface Sibachawe, who is supposed to be here, but due to unavoidable circumstances, he couldn't be here, and hence he delegated this to me to appear on his behalf. I'm highly humbled and honored to join all of you participants. Spare me with the time, because this address actually is very long. Dear esteemed participants, let me take this opportunity to welcome all you, in particular the international guests, to our beloved country of Tanzania, the land of Kilimanjaro, Serengeti and Zanzibar. Dr. Alexander Chisango from South Africa, but also I was told he's from Zimbabwe, and all other guests, you are all welcome. I want to thank the KLNT for organizing this crucial, timely meeting. It presents a rare and exciting opportunity for leaders in government, entrepreneurs, businesses and organizations to network while tapping into experience and wisdom from some of the finest world-class speakers, successful global businesses, leaders, entrepreneurs, world changers and visionary leaders. At this juncture, allow me to extend my congratulatory remark to all the presenters and in particular their meaningful and energizing presentation, and indeed we learn from them all. Dear esteemed participants, allow me also to touch base with the leadership and ethics as mentioned. Leadership has its reward, but also imposes ethical burden upon leaders. This is true in public service, and it's also true in business. We all know that the corporate world is replete with the stories of unethical conduct and decision making, which has led to the entire economy collapsing and, or at the best, people going bankrupt. The answer could be changed, but the question is how. Dear delegates, it's an honor also to have an opportunity to participate in this meeting. And to us, this offers us an opportunity to continue learning, as many mentioned, but also to save us the time to get a new knowledge and understanding the world in large. Dear esteemed participant, one of the negative consequences of globalization is the globalization of greed. Today, there is hardly any country in the world without its fair share of unethical conduct. Most people have an inner sense of right and wrong. They have moral compass, but greedy, among other things, still throw them off a course, and they still do what is wrong. Greedy is like magnet that causes a compass to malfunction. Instead of pointing to our true north, it can lead us to a doldrum of the opposite direction. So only God, in his infinite mercy, and if we let him, can help us prevail on the things that drive us away from our core values and moral compasses. Dear esteemed participants, therefore, I should ask you that each of us, in our own way, God to help us embrace the Jefferson Institution 6 pillars of character, which applies equal in governments, businesses, communities, and practical all situations. Allow me to mention some of them. One is trustworthiness. Honesty, integrity, reliability, loyalty, keeping them promising, and don't deceive others are pillar of trustworthiness. The other is respect. Using the golden rule or treating others as you wish to be treated, in addition to being cautious, listening to others, and accepting individual differences. The third, responsibility. Accountability, self-control, the pursuit of excellence, and considering consequences of our action to us and to others and to our environment before making them. Fourth is to understand the fairness, playing by the rules, not taking advantage of others, making informed judgment without favoritism or prejudice, and not blaming others. Also, we need to be caring. And in caring, we understand the kindness, the compassion, the altruism, acting in the minimum hardship, and help others whenever possible. And the last but not least, the citizenship. In order to understand the way of citizenship, working to make one community better, protecting the environment, making our democratic institution works, and operating within the boundary of the law is of utmost importance to be able to understand the realm of citizenship. To your surprise, you reasoned the fact that 6 value above conveyed to Her Excellence Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, in her philosophy, which we mark them as 4 R's. Thus means we discuss about reconciliation, resilience, reform, and rebuilding. Dear esteemed participants, in defining the national question, our founding father of the nation emphasized on 4 principles: growth with equity, self-reliance, national control of economy, and leadership that is honest, just, accountable, selfless, and impeccable integrity. Such leadership is expected to value servanthood to the people. Mwalimu Nyerere advocated this type of leadership for delivering selfless service to all the Tanzanians. Our dear esteemed participants, however, returning to our core value and being able to live and lead by the practical espouse of those values need more than wishful thinking. It requires us to acknowledge God and pray for His help. We also need the wisdom and courage to raise our children well and show them the ethical leadership and integrity about the power for our examples, giving them roots and moral compasses. I want to leave you with the word of Ellen White, written over a century ago for our reflection. The greatest want of the world is the want of men who will not be bought or sold. Men who in the innermost soul are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to guilty and a leader to the poor. Men who will stand for the right, though the heaven fall. May God help us to be those kind of men and women. Dear esteemed participants, apart from introducing the International Christian Chamber of Commerce Tanzania chapter here in Dar es Salaam, I'm aware that KLT has prepared this meeting also to celebrate its 10th anniversary and share with their members, partner, and critical stakeholders its achievements. Coming plan and intervention for the next year, as far as the business and investment forum are concerned, focus on Tanzania-Israel business and investment forum, Tanzania-USA business and investment forum, national leadership development program, and economic transformation project. Dear esteemed participants, on behalf of the government, I extend a warm appreciation and commend the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania for pioneering these two noble initiatives, namely the Tanzania-Israel Business and Investment Forum initiative 8 years ago, and the Tanzania-US Business Investment Forum initiated a year ago. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank the KLT board, management, and staff who are organizing for both forums as stipulated above. As records show, the KLT has already facilitated successful 7 TBA forums which have taken place in Dar es Salaam and in Tel Aviv alternatively. Hence, our confidence and the trust in ability of this institution is going high. Dear esteemed participants, I look forward to Tanzania participation in these two forums and our continued collaboration in other areas of mutual understanding between our countries. Both planned business and investment forum with the USA and the State of Israel will be held next year in Dar es Salaam and Tel Aviv for economic transformation through strategic partnership and value-based principles. Both initiatives are strategic commercial partnership platforms developed to strengthen the two-way business and investment initiative between the USA and Israel and our Tanzania. Both forums seek to bring together investors, prominent business owners, entrepreneurs, government officials, and private sector CEOs from Tanzania, Israel, and the USA to develop and establish a nurture strategic partnership, innovation, and business relationship to discuss further and harness the current opportunity to collaborate and implement, to foster and strengthen stronger commercial ties between our countries by continuing to explore businesses and investment cooperation areas, tapping into potential economic benefits and linkage for USA, Israel, and Tanzania businesses and projects. Dear esteemed participants, on behalf of the government, I would like to appreciate and commend the efforts and consistency for many years by KLMT and the partners involved, which include, and not to mention a few, the World Holding International USA, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, as well as relevant government agencies, forming the task force, steering committee teams, and in organizing the coming meetings, namely the Tanzania National Business Council, TNBC, Tanzania Investment Center, TIC, Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority, ZIPA, and Tanzania Trade Development Authority, TANTRAD, in organizing the coming launch of the Tanzania-US Business and Investment Forum. Dear esteemed participants, the 6th phase government has committed to improving the investment climate and increasing foreign direct investment flow and employment for Tanzania by increased business opportunities. Initiatives such as Regency University, Business Development Center, and International Christian Chamber of Commerce are essential, and our government is determined to further an inclusive industrial economy. Partners in business and development are highly encouraged to support this noble effort by investing in areas that enhance business development and spur industrialization. Dear participants, I'm delighted that the trainers are local Tanzania industrial expertise and professionals who can localize the material, scenario, and make the program relevant to our local environment and industries. On the November 11th, 2020, the Business Development Center launched in Dar es Salaam, followed by a pilot 20 weeks entrepreneurship program kickoff in Dar es Salaam. And on the 15th May 2021, here at Hyatt Regency Hotel, the first fruits of 20 entrepreneurs were graduated at the first graduation of the Tanzania Regency University BDC Entrepreneurship Program, who are progressing well with their businesses. Dear esteemed participants, the 20-week entrepreneurship program is unique because it allows businessmen and women to enter the market quickly and fully equipped. Students and business people come to the center with a business idea, and some without a business idea, and they walk out with a full functioning businesses. During the 20 weeks, the entrepreneurs and the business people were empowered and equipped with entrepreneurial skills and ethical value-based businesses principle. The program is also unique in that entrepreneurs and business people are trained to understand and appreciate the value-based ethics and moral economic development principles and as such impact the national economic transformation and equitable income distribution in Tanzania through business, entrepreneurship, and innovations. I challenge ourselves, especially the KLNT, KLI, Regency, BDC, and other institutions, to help Tanzania to go to the next level of our income country, started through continued training, developing and release entrepreneurs with the different mindsets who have business skills, value-based principle, different attitude, characters to build business in manufacturing, tourism and agribusiness, technology and value addition. Dear esteemed participants, today we celebrated the introduction of the Iccc, founded over 35 years ago by the Swedish businessman J. Gunnar Olsson. Since its inception in 1985, the Iccc headquartered in Sweden has spread worldwide, including local chambers on every continent. It also represented in over 100 countries worldwide, aimed at bringing together a network of Christians in a marketplace worldwide, connecting to like-minded business people for business capacity building and empowerment to the body of Christ in the marketplace. Dear esteemed participants, I was initially informed the Regency University BDC program, which is also currently running a 20-week action-based entrepreneurship program in Tanzania, and in particular in Dodoma, Arusha, and Dar es Salaam, under the KLI, started a partnership with the International Christian Chamber of Commerce. Once again, congratulations to KLNT for this partnership with the Iccc and on your 10th anniversary with 10 platforms serving our beloved countries. Dear esteemed participants, KLNT, working together with other government institutions and non-government institutions, has been pivotal in preparing leadership to excel holistically through moral guidance, mentoring, coaching, and practical leadership training for the past 10 years. With this remark, I now declare the International Christian Chamber of Commerce Tanzania chapter launched, and a congratulations to all the KLNT board, management, staff, members, partners, stakeholders for the 10th anniversary of the excellent work you have accomplished in Tanzania. Thank you for your attention. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Rizana Kikwete. I hope I'm pronouncing the names right. Mtanimia Rad. Ri, from where I come from, and Kiava is a witness, we have a problem between R and L. So, Honorable Kikwete, thank you very much for the inspiring speech. The answer could be changed, but the question is how we need to learn integrity, honesty, and respect. What has spoken deep to us, that has pierced us, is treat others how you want to be treated. We need to keep on pursuing excellence, and from the Prime Minister, we picked up a sequence of a political club. I think we could be going on with that sequence after the Prime Minister. So for every mention, we do two, isn't it? For every mention, we do two to appreciate Honorable Kikwete. So the answer could be changed, but the question is how. Honesty, integrity, and respect is something we need to practice. Treat others how you want to be treated. Pursuit of excellence. The other thing that we need to understand is fairness and play by the rules and don't blame others. Help others whenever you can. People in this room not help us. Why did that clap go down? Help others whenever you can. We practice good citizenship. We operate within the borders of the law. We have also learned that reconciliation, reform, and rebuilding is important. We were also reminded of the dream of our founding father of the nation, Muungano wa Tanzania. Am I the only one who was learning? Am I the only student in the room? I'm mentioning something and even people are looking at each other like this. Was that said? When was it said? I go back home knowing who are good listeners. So he has also told us that the government is committed to creating an environment that is good for investment and an environment that can spur industrialization. That deserves a triple clap. That is the main reason why we are here, because we need to encourage investments and to remind us that now we can remember what our mathematics teacher did to us, and we can give him a 5 factorial. Starting with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fuga, fugua. We say Prime Minister, we picked up political clubs. Yes, but he didn't tell us the quote that I mentioned, where that quote came from, because it's a quote that we practice in Kenya when we want to get accountability of where the money has gone to. And that quote was none other than the 4th President of the Republic of Tanzania, Jakaya Kikwete. So, to remind us that we are still live, keep on telling someone who is at home that we are live on YouTube. We are live on ATN TV Tanzania on StarTimes channel 120. We are live at KLNT Online TV. That is the YouTube channel for KLNT. So we have been the moderators with Joe, Dr. Joe Bishota, and if I mentioned that name, you know, even pronouncing SH for me is an achievement. It's a great achievement by itself. Dr. Ekra Ndongo from Kenya, and I want to invite my co-moderator to guide us from here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ekran. In the interest of time, I just need to make it clear that our guest of honor has to leave. So there is a slight change to the protocol. And what we'll need to do right now is actually, gentlemen, set the stage here for a group photo. I want to articulate what the photos, or how the photo session will go. Number one, the first photo will be the 2 high tables. The second photo will be the high table and the current board and the former KLNT and KLI board, KLNT staff, BDC facilitators, and volunteers. The third photo will be the high table and government officials and government agencies and CEOs of banks and corporate leaders. Are we together? Okay. The gentlemen, please, we need to set up 11 seats here. So it will be five on the one side and 5 on the other side, and we need 2 more on this side. As we're getting ready here, I wish to acknowledge the presence of important guests that joined us for this occasion. I actually wish to start with, since we're the hosts, I will start with Dr. Florence Chisango, Pastor Florence Chisango, who is the wife of Dr. Chisango. We acknowledge your presence. We also like to acknowledge the presence of Jane Kiamba, Mrs. Rene's wife, who have joined us. Thank you so much. I wish to also take this moment to acknowledge the presence of Janet Mbene. Well, it's going to be recorded, so she'll know that we took cognizance of her. Dr. Cyril Nchembe, lecturer, IFM. We wish to acknowledge Dr. Fred Ringo, the past former chairman of KLMT. Dr. God bless Lema from Chadema, who was here with us earlier. We also wish to acknowledge Professor Maulilio Kipanyula, the Vice Chancellor for Nelson Mandela Institute. I'm not sure whether he's here. Oh, very well, thank you so much. And I think everybody, and Dr. Fernandez, who was also here, who is the founder of Agape Television Network. Thank you very much for joining us on this very special occasion. All corporate leaders. I can see Dr. Ibrahim Mangalaba, the CEO of Maendeleo Bank. Thank you very much for joining us. And all protocols observed. For those that I have forgotten, we acknowledge you and we thank you so much for joining us. So right now I'd like to invite the two high tables to the front here for the photo shoot. Photographers, mko tayari? Very well.
And a polite reminder as we get ready for the photo that before you leave, kindly leave your business card at the front desk out there.
Thank you very much. As the members of the high table, while they're still seated, I'd like this second group to come in. Members of the current board, the former KLMT and KLI board, KLMT staff, BDC facilitators and volunteers, you will please come and stand behind the high seats. Thank you. If we can move quickly, please. Somebody has raised an issue of gender imbalance. If you can move a little bit further down, thank you. Thank you. And I'd now like to invite government officials, government agencies, and CEOs of banks and corporate leaders. Government officials, government agencies, and CEOs of banks and corporate leaders. can move slightly further down to accommodate the people at the end. Thank you. There's still some more? Yeah, some more. Okay. Okay. Thank you.